If you never made any mistakes in Siege, you would be champion overnight. That's why I'm going to give you the 14 mistakes that are keeping you hard stuck and stopping you from achieving the rank that you deserve. Everything including how to take space, moving too much, the attachments you use, and even how you place your claymores will be in this video. There are timestamps below if you want to skip to a certain mistake, leave a like if you enjoy, and let's get started. Now the next mistake is not holding tight enough angles. So a lot of times, right, when people are holding angles, they think they need to give themselves enough time to react whenever the enemy crosses. So for example, if Buck is on the right side here and then walks to the left, I am going to hold this wide angle to make sure that I have time to react to Buck swinging. That is bad. Instead, you should be holding as tight an angle as humanly possible. So if instead I hold a very tight pixel like this, then whenever Buck crosses into the angle, all I have to do is move out to the side. To Buck, it seems like it is an instant pre-fire because he's not ready for me to just suddenly appear like that. So one, it's almost impossible to get killed off of this angle, and I have infinite time to react because all I have to do is swing out and pre-fire him before he makes it to the other side of the door. This gives Buck zero time to react and works on basically any angle. So even here in Sunrise, if I see him come out of Mudroom, then I can wide swing him and he will not expect me on that angle like that. Now next, you are not capitalizing on weaknesses. What I mean by this is if they don't have any wall denial, just get the wall open with like 15 seconds gone from the round, right? You should have this open as quickly as possible. Even if it's not a wall that you're going to end up playing, just get it open fast so that way the enemies have to watch it. Let's say you're droning, right? You drive up main stairs and you realize they have no traps, no barbed wire, there's nothing on main stairs, right? Maybe there's a guy playing here, but that's it. What you can do is use that to crouch walk up the stairs, and because they have no kind of info on the stairs, it's very easy to peek up and kill anyone at the top of the stairs, or just catch anyone in sight off guard. You should get used to droning out and figuring out these weaknesses as quickly as possible. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that you can make in R6 is placing your claymores wrong. So usually when I see people place claymores, they place it something like this. If this is like how you place your claymores, then know that you're doing it wrong. This makes it very easy for a zombie here to come up, see the claymore, and shoot it. Now you have nothing on your flank watch. Sure, maybe you heard them shoot it, but if they have a suppressor, then you're just dead. Now instead, what you should be doing is look at the wall while placing the claymore. What this ends up doing is it makes only one laser show. This will make the claymores much harder to notice. Even though it is still pretty obvious, you will be shocked at how much more often people do not see a claymore when only one laser is showing. The next mistake is not abusing thorn. As of February 6th, 2026, thorn is insane. Let me give you a couple examples of how good her utility is. So one way that thorn's utility is very good is for information. The only real way for them to make it past the thorn is to full sprint past it. Now, even if they do that, you still get info on where they're actually pushing, right? If the thorn goes off, you know they're pushing in Hall of Fame. And if they are full sprinting, then it's very easy to peek and pre-fire them while they don't have their gun up. This will also work if they try to push past it and shoot it, because you will still hear the thorn mine go off and their gun will be pointing up at the thorn mine instead of at you, leading to a free kill. Thorn is also broken on windows. So for example, if he tries to rappel in, even if he makes it in the window and then is able to turn around and try to jump out, because of the faster activation, he does not have time. And if you place barbed wire there, then he doesn't have time to run away. And if he turns to shoot it, then if you're playing anywhere nearby, then he is a free kill. And the final and potentially most broken aspect of thorn is using them as an aggressive nade. So what I mean by this is, let's say there's somebody in bathroom here. If I want to push them, all I need to do is throw a thorn mine into the bathroom. The thorn mine will activate very quickly. So whenever it lands on the ground and then activates, they have two options. Either die to the thorn mine, or they can turn and shoot at the thorn mine. If they turn to shoot at the thorn mine, then it means their gun is down and they are an easy kill. Or if they don't try to shoot the thorn mine, then they will most likely die to the thorn mine. This also works for information if you don't know if someone's in a room, because if the thorn mine doesn't activate, then the room is probably clear because the radius is massive. Now the next mistake is not abusing hard breaching tech. Essentially, you're just using every hard breach as a hard breacher, right? But there are a lot of hard breaching tricks that make it infinitely easier. We'll go over all of them, but first, let's start with Maverick. With Maverick, you can make this entire wall soft only using roughly 1/5 of your canister. So all you need to do is go to the top of the wall and go from left to right. Once you make it to this point and make sure that this little edge goes away, and you'll see that stuff fall out of the wall, then you can do the same thing on the bottom. Just do it all the way across the bottom of the wall, and now you can see that the wall becomes soft. Now, if you have a soft breacher on your team, they can open up the wall and it worked the exact same as a hard breacher. The biggest benefit is it also works if there is a bandit or a Cade on the wall, and there is no way to counter this other than shooting him. Now, next we'll go over thermite. If this wall was bandited, then you have the issue where if you place the thermite on the wall, it will get destroyed. However, there is also a way to get those bandits off of the wall with thermite. All you need to do is, if there is a soft floor on the other side of the wall, then you can place the thermite on this side of the wall. Just place it far enough where it won't be destroyed by the electricity. Then whenever you set off the thermite, it will destroy the entire bottom of the wall. Not only can this potentially get you a prone angle into the site, but if it is a bandit or a mute, it is very easy to shoot them. And finally, we have Ace. Ace has a very similar trick to thermite, but it makes slightly smaller holes. The nice thing about Ace charges is only this center part here actually gets destroyed by the bandit. So if you place the Ace charge down and the sides extend into the electrified wall, then it's fine. It will still blow up and destroy any bandits on the other side of the wall. Or if it doesn't destroy it, then prone and shoot it real quick. Now the wall doesn't have any electricity and you can just throw an Ace charge on it. Now Ace can also use the exact same technique to destroy electrified hatches. So if I place an Ace charge next to the hatch, it doesn't get destroyed by the electricity. But since the sides extend onto the hatch, it actually blows up this section of the hatch. If you do that twice, the hatch is open. Now the next mistake is giving yourself terrible timing. So let's say you spawn over here on Clubhouse. The first thing you want to do is you want to shoot down this window here. This will make it so that way you don't make noise later in the round whenever you open up the window. It'll already be open and the defenders might forget about it. Now, whenever this wall is opening up over here, it makes a lot of noise. So whenever they activate, let's say the Ace or the thermite, then what you can do is you can drop down here using the sound to mask it, jump in the window, and because everyone will be distracted by the wall opening, it will be a bunch of free kills. A lot of times you can hop in, kill this guy here, kill anybody playing top garage through the holes, and essentially win the round for your team. Now for the enemies, it'll feel like terrible timing because they'll be looking at this window here, then they'll look away at the breach. Now the second they look away to the breach, you jump in the window and you kill them. And it's because you figured out how to make the enemies have terrible timing. Now the next mistake is not taking space after you get a kill. So if I open up this wall here, then if there is an enemy playing in here, for example right here, or maybe over here on this corner, then if I kill that person and then stay outside, right? Maybe I'm worried about somebody swinging here. I just don't go inside. That's very bad. Once I kill that first person, I need to push in and I need to take the space. This gives the attack all of this extra space here. And that's because if you don't take the space, then it gives the enemy the ability to retake that space instead. If I look away for even 1 second and we don't have anybody in there, and then let's say I come back, Frost could easily be anywhere in here and kill me while I'm not expecting anybody to be there because we didn't claim this space. Now the next mistake is droning too far ahead. When you are droning, you should only ever drone 2 rooms ahead. Make sure there's nobody in there, and now I take this space. This will make sure that they do not have time to retake the space before you have it. For example, if I drone this room and then I drone this room and it's all clear, now I get off my drone and now I have to run all the way over there. With how long it takes for me to get there, it's very easy for someone to already have taken this space by the time I get there. But if instead I only drone 2 rooms ahead, right? If I'm here and I drone this room and then I drone this room, if all of this is clear, then if I get off of my drone, I will be close enough to hear anybody running in and know that they are there. Now the next mistake is not saving your drone. What you should absolutely not be doing is driving your drone directly into the bomb site. You can get basically all the information that you need regarding what operators they are running, etc., by staying outside outside of the bomb site and just watching them set up. For example, I just saw Mira. I don't even need to scan her. Now I leave and drive it back to spawn. What happens if you drive your drone into the site during prep phase and get it shot is now you've lost half of your information that you would have otherwise had, especially since drones directly lead to kills constantly, right? If I see Mira here on this angle and I do a Z ping, then it makes her an easy pre-fire and an easy kill. A huge mistake that you are making is not using the clock properly. So if this person is allowed to just run in and start the plant here, or let's say maybe you're just playing back here in hookah, sure, you can play back here and maybe deny the plant, but there's also the chance that they'll be able to smoke it off and get the bomb down. This is just a 50-50 fight. This is not what you want to have. You need to play in spots that'll help delay the time. For example, maybe put some Jaeger ADSs back here or some of my discs over here and play behind this bar here. They've taken 15 seconds to get to the balcony, then they've wasted a minute clearing you out of here, and now your teammate is maybe right here behind this bomb, maybe here behind pink bar, and then you also have somebody here. Now they're gonna have to go to this window, maybe they need to send somebody VIP side. All of these things are going to take way more time than they have. Another thing you can do to help delay time is run more trap operators. For example, if you have Legion in certain places, especially right next to doorways like this, as you can see, it still covers half the doorway, so when they walk through, they still get hit by the Legion mine. This means they have to back off, take it out, and now they have to check every single doorway and constantly be looking at the floor to make sure they don't step on a Legion mine, which also potentially makes them a much easier kill since they're not actually looking at you. These kind of psychological tricks and just holding extra areas on the map help delay a ton of time and will win you a ton of rounds. Now, the next mistake is moving too much. This includes things like leaning, walking side to side, crouching, or even proning. The issue with that is it makes it much harder to aim. So for example, if I'm ADS'd at this thing here, if I lean to the right, then my crosshair is no longer on it. If I lean to the left, my crosshair is no longer on it. If I crouch, my crosshair is no longer on it. If I prone, my crosshair is no longer on it. If I move from side to side, my crosshair is no longer on it. Meaning for all of those things, right? Every time you lean, every time you move, every time you crouch, you have to try and compensate for it with your crosshair, putting a lot more stress on your aim. Because if I peek somebody, right, and then I lean this way, then I need to compensate. Oh, and then I crouch, right? I'm trying to dodge bullets. But look at how much my crosshair goes off of it. This is if you don't have perfect aim, right? All of your crosshair is just going to be going all over the place. And this is going to cause you to miss lots of shots because anytime your crosshair is not on it, then the bullets are just going to end up around it. This is why a lot of people whiff. And if you stop moving so much, then you will have a much better time in Siege. Now, the next mistake is exposing yourself to too many angles at once. So for example, let's say I'm going to push into penthouse here. What a lot of people end up doing is they just kind of hope that they see them and then they get hit by something like this. You're just exposing yourself to too many angles and not actively checking them all. Instead, you should be methodically clearing angles. For example, first I check this angle here. Then I'll peek out and I'll check behind these couches here. Then I need to check back here. Then I need to check this angle and this angle and this angle. And then finally, I would end up seeing Ash after I check here and swing right here. I need to check all of those spots. And since this was one of the angles, I would end up seeing Ash. Maybe you are checking angles, but you're not being thorough enough. So you're checking this angle, and then you're kind of looking behind the couch here, and then you're kind of checking this angle, and then Ash kills you here because there is an extra angle that you didn't check. Now, the next mistake is using the wrong attachments. A lot of people say that you should always use ACOG, flash hider, vertical grip, and laser. Now, while I agree this is typically the best combination of attachments, that's not always true. An obvious example is anytime you can run a DMR. If you're going to run a DMR, then yes, the ACOG is still good, but you're going to run a muzzle brake and a horizontal grip, and a lot of times no laser since you're going to be holding lots of angles. Another example is shotguns, right? You always want to run iron sights. You want to run a suppressor if it has it available, and then you always want to run a laser on it. And finally, there are a lot of full auto guns where other attachments are better. For example, if you're going to run the G36, this has basically no recoil at all. So you're either going to want to run a suppressor or an extended barrel. The extended barrel will give you extra damage, and the suppressor will make it harder for the enemies to know where they are being shot from. And then even on other guns, let's say for example, Vigil's K1A, you are going to want to run a horizontal grip on it, right? You want to run the flash hider with the horizontal grip because an extended barrel and a horizontal grip kind of does make the recoil crazy. But because Vigil has almost no recoil, the horizontal grip giving you that extra speed on a roamer is extremely useful. And then finally, sometimes you do want to run the compensator. This is if the operator has a lot of horizontal recoil, as you can see by the recoil pattern. If the bullets go out to the side a lot, that is what the compensator will help with, whereas the flash hider helps with vertical recoil. Now, the next mistake is not swinging enough. A lot of Siege YouTubers constantly preach the fact that you should stop over peeking and swinging too much. While this is good advice, I think it has gone too far in the wrong direction, where now it feels like people are constantly afraid to peek, where they just end up sitting in a room like this for basically the entire round because they're not willing to swing and try to kill anybody on sight. Sometimes you just need to swing. Now, you can get help from things like flashbangs, right? Maybe you flash out the angle, this lands at her feet. Because flashbangs are proximity based in Siege, it will still blind her. That will allow you to take the space with her being fully blind, and you'll be able to kill her behind the pillar here. Or maybe you drone it out first, ping where she is, and use that to pre-fire. But in any case, sometimes you just need to take the space, right? You need to play aggressive and you need to swing. Even if it's scary, you have to do it.